Spike Island, Cork, Ireland. The island that never forgot. The Island of Silence. Just off the coast of Cork Harbour lies Spike Island, a place whose breathtaking views conceal one of Ireland's darkest histories. Tourists now walk its ancient stone paths beneath the warm Irish sun, but when evening falls and the last ferry departs, an unsettling silence settles over the island. Many visitors have claimed that the silence feels unnatural, as though thousands of unseen eyes are watching from empty prison windows. For over 1,300 years, Spike Island has witnessed monasteries, invasions, military occupation, famine, disease, executions, and imprisonment. Every generation has left behind stories of suffering, creating an atmosphere so heavy that even skeptics admit the island feels unlike anywhere else in Ireland. A sacred beginning. The earliest known settlement on Spike Island dates back to the 7th century, when monks established a peaceful monastery on the small island. According to historical records, these monks lived simple lives devoted to prayer and isolation. However, their sanctuary did not remain untouched for long. Viking raiders repeatedly attacked the island during the early medieval period, destroying buildings and killing or driving away many of the monks. Local folklore suggests that after these violent raids, fishermen occasionally reported hearing distant church bells ringing across the harbor on foggy mornings, despite the monastery having long since disappeared. While historians consider these stories folklore rather than documented fact, they became one of the island's earliest ghost legends. The fortress that became a prison. Centuries later, the British military recognized Spike Island's strategic importance and transformed it into one of the strongest defensive positions protecting Cork Harbour. Construction of the massive Fort Mitchel began during the 19th century. Thick limestone walls, underground tunnels, powder magazines, and defensive batteries spread across the island, creating a fortress designed to withstand attack. Yet history would soon turn this military stronghold into something far darker. During the Great Irish Famine of the 1840s, thousands of starving Irish men and women faced desperate choices. Many stole food simply to survive. Instead of receiving mercy, countless people were arrested and transported to Spike Island. What had once been a fortress gradually became one of the largest prisons in the British Empire. The forgotten victims of the Great Famine. Historical records reveal that during the famine years, Spike Island became severely overcrowded. Prisoners were packed into cramped cells with poor sanitation, inadequate food, and limited medical care. Disease spread rapidly through the prison population. Many inmates had committed only minor thefts, often stealing bread or small amounts of food to feed starving families. Numerous prisoners died before ever seeing freedom again. Their bodies were buried in unmarked graves on or near the island, with little ceremony or remembrance. Historians have documented the harsh conditions endured by these prisoners, making Spike Island a powerful reminder of one of Ireland's greatest tragedies. The Convict Depot. Between the 1840s and 1880s, Spike Island became the largest convict depot in the British Empire. More than 2,300 prisoners could be held there at one time, making it larger than many prisons in Britain itself. Convicts sentenced to transportation to Australia often spent weeks or months on Spike Island before boarding prison ships. Many prisoners never completed the journey. Disease, malnutrition, and harsh living conditions claimed numerous lives before transportation could even begin. The prison hospital frequently struggled to cope with outbreaks of illness, while guards maintained strict discipline through punishment and isolation. The dark cells below the fortress. Beneath Fort Mitchel lie narrow stone passages and underground chambers originally designed for military purposes. Some sections later served as punishment areas where prisoners were isolated for disciplinary reasons. Historical accounts describe these spaces as cold, damp, and almost completely devoid of natural light. Modern visitors sometimes report overwhelming feelings of anxiety while walking through these underground corridors. Some claim they suddenly experience unexplained chills, dizziness, or a powerful urge to leave certain rooms. Paranormal investigators often point to these tunnels as the most active locations on the island, although no scientific evidence has confirmed supernatural causes. The screams in the night. Former prison staff and maintenance workers have shared unusual stories over the years. Several have described hearing what sounded like distant shouting or cries echoing through empty prison blocks after dark. Others reported metallic sounds resembling prison doors slamming shut even when every door remained securely locked. These experiences remain anecdotal, and no verified explanation has been established. Nevertheless, the stories continue to circulate among guides and visitors, contributing to Spike Island's reputation as one of Ireland's most haunted historic sites. The shadow in the prison corridor. One of the most frequently repeated modern ghost stories concerns a dark human-shaped figure seen moving along one of the abandoned prison corridors. Witnesses have claimed the figure appears briefly before disappearing around a corner or through a closed doorway. Security personnel have occasionally investigated reports of movement inside empty buildings, only to find no one present. No authenticated photographic evidence has conclusively demonstrated paranormal activity, but these reports have become part of the island's enduring folklore. The cell that feels occupied. Guided tours occasionally pause outside former prison cells where visitors have reported unusual sensations. Some describe feeling as though someone is standing directly behind them, only to turn and discover the corridor completely empty. Others claim they suddenly feel intense sadness or emotional heaviness without any obvious reason. Psychologists note that environments with tragic histories can naturally influence human emotions and perception. Yet believers argue that these experiences occur too consistently to dismiss entirely. Voices beneath the wind. Late-night paranormal investigations have occasionally recorded unexplained sounds while the island appeared otherwise empty. Participants have described faint whispers, footsteps, or distant knocking during recording sessions. Audio experts often caution that environmental noises, echoes, and wind can produce misleading recordings, leaving such evidence open to interpretation. Whether natural or paranormal, these reports continue to attract investigators hoping to understand the island's mysteries. The prison cemetery. Many prisoners who died on Spike Island received simple burials with little recognition. Archaeological investigations have confirmed the existence of burial grounds associated with the prison. Walking near these quiet areas today, visitors often remark upon an unusual stillness that contrasts sharply with the lively harbor surrounding the island. Some guides recount stories of people feeling sudden cold spots or hearing faint footsteps while visiting the cemetery after sunset. These tales remain part of local ghost lore rather than verified historical fact. Military ghost stories. After the prison era ended, Spike Island continued serving military purposes for decades. Soldiers stationed there occasionally passed down stories of unexplained encounters. Some claimed they saw lantern lights moving through abandoned buildings where no personnel were assigned. These accounts survive largely through oral tradition, adding another layer to the island's haunted reputation. Modern paranormal investigations. Spike Island has become a destination for paranormal investigators from Ireland and abroad. Teams using thermal cameras, electromagnetic field meters, infrared photography, and digital audio equipment have explored the prison after dark. While some investigators believe they have captured unusual anomalies, none of the findings have been universally accepted as proof of ghosts. Even so, many participants leave convinced that the island possesses an atmosphere unlike any other historic site they have visited. The weight of history. Unlike many haunted locations whose legends rely almost entirely on folklore, Spike Island's horror begins with documented history. Thousands of real prisoners endured unimaginable hardship within its walls. Families were separated forever. Men convicted of stealing food during the Great Famine were imprisoned alongside hardened criminals. Many died far from home, their names gradually fading into history. Whether one believes in ghosts or not, the suffering recorded in official archives gives the island a haunting presence that requires no supernatural explanation. The island that remembers. Today, Spike Island welcomes visitors eager to explore its remarkable history. The restored fortress stands as both a museum and a memorial to those who lived, suffered. Perhaps the whispers reported by visitors are only the wind passing through ancient corridors. Perhaps the footsteps are echoes carried by old stone. On Spike Island, history itself can feel like a ghost, always present, never forgotten, and forever waiting in the darkness for someone willing to listen.